Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my sketchbook. This is the second last Harry Potter book in the series. And like the last book, let's see if we can open this up here. It has the same illustrator as the last book. This is Jason Cockcroft, or Cockcroft. Kind of cool. Has a picture of Harry and Dumbledore on it. For fun, we'll go to the chocolate frogs, and then here you can see the movie Dumbledore in the cards, which is pretty cool. Pretty neat portrait. Anyway, this is going to be just kind of another quick drawing of sorts. I'll just open up the inkwell here beside me. Set that aside, the cover, get the pen, and see what we can do. All right, let's zoom in on this first and kind of lock it down. This will be the dust jacket cover protector for the Half-Blood Prince. So it's an interesting day. Slept in, of course, for Sunday. That's what I like to do every so often. Although sleeping in isn't always the funnest thing for me, because I sometimes have stuff I want to get done, but rest is very important. Let's see here. So who is the Half-Blood Prince? Well, you're gonna have to read and find out. Although, I don't think it's that complicated. If you've read the books to this point, you probably know what's going on. And when you consider how certain houses will talk about mudbloods and horrible things like that in the wizarding world, it's kind of a big deal, I suppose. Now, let's see. Okay. My intention with this, well, just kind of a doodle of sorts. I'm trying to think of how I want this character to look, because, well, this will be kind of a fun depiction, I think. So let's go with these little half glasses. And I think there's something kind of interesting about the relationship between Harry Potter and Dumbledore. I think everybody involved in, well, basically the fight with Voldemort, even with predictions and all that kind of stuff in regards to Harry, it's almost like they kind of forgot that he's a kid. I think they're aware, But I mean, it's a very real sort of frightening thing that goes on with Harry. This would be his 6th year at Hogwarts. Let's see. Not really sure what type of hat you'd refer to this as. It's almost kind of a fez. Let's see. A Dumbledore is often depicted as controlling his beard in some way. Let's see. But at this point, he would be a much older man. I don't want that to look too wild. Let's back this out a little bit. For doodle's sake. Now, I'm going to have him wearing a ring there on his right hand. In the doodle. Over here, let's have Harry. I wonder, whenever they were casting the movies, if they sat down with the parents of the then kids and thought, okay, how tall do we expect these kids to be as they grow up during the making of these movies? I just kind of wonder that because Neville, the actor that plays Neville, grew to be pretty tall, and the actor that plays Harry, not as tall. Not a terrible thing, it's just kind of funny, that's all. Not that we were expecting Harry to be super tall anyway, but now this is almost a pleasant interaction, even though the books get so much darker. I just kind of wanted to have something that just I don't know, had a better kind of feel. I'm going to have these two good friends kind of going for a handshake, I think. For the doodle's sake, I suppose. All right, well, I don't think I need to go too much further than that. What I will do is probably try a little bit of line cleanup. Now, Snape isn't really a big fan of Harry, which is kind of too bad. And I think it has more to do with just looking at his face. Now, Harry, it's not really his fault, of course. It has more to do with the time that Severus and James Potter went to school together, as is my understanding. Snape would have been fond of Harry's mother, so you know that he would have looked after Harry in some ways. for that reason. All right, well, I think that's going to be kind of it. It doesn't need to be too elaborate for just a doodle's sake. I'm going to throw in a lot more ink here. Get a little bit of water. And we'll just blur some of this around a little bit. I will try to put a quick crest in here, which I didn't bother to do. Okay. Now in my head I'm not really sure what exactly I'm going to do for the next book. I'll figure that out very soon, or it'll happen as I'm drawing it, which is often the case anyway. So yeah, when you do these kind of like concept drawings, you don't have to put in tons and tons of detail. You can kind of get away with just sketches. All right, clean that. Look over it one last time. With the pen in hand, of course. Now, in the movies and in the books, whenever you see portraits, they're not really like ghosts as much as they are almost like magical AI, if that makes sense. They're kind of like memory holders, often trained by the person who set up the portrait, or the portrait of, I should say. So like if you're having a chat with Salazar Slytherin, for example, it's not really Salazar. I mean, he would have left the school over some differences, I suppose, that he had with what was going on with the students. One last thing here I'm going to do just for fun. On Dumbledore's hand. Ooh, that's a bit much. Let's try moving that around a little bit. Kind of right by Marvolo Gaunt's ring. Looks like a blur of ink going on there. Anyway, hopefully that'll dry a little nicer. I think that's it. I will bring this out just a little bit, just like that. Nothing too serious. All right, folks, thanks for hanging out for a minute or so. And yeah, one last book to go. So that's it for Harry Potter Half-Blood Prince Dust Jacket Protector. All right, ciao for now.